All right, so we're going to dive right in. This is the second class in part two, the 0 to 12 transactions in the path one of the locker room university. So I'm going to go ahead and do a share screen, and then we're kind of going to follow along and go over the 19 things they don't teach in real estate school. Get there. Oops, get you guys out of the way. All right. Those on Zoom, please unmute and ask any questions because I need to hide you guys out of the way here so I can see the screen. There we go. All right, so let's just jump right in. So the 19 Things actually is a book that Jake with a locker room actually wrote. He actually has a book that's published for someone to buy if they wanted to, but this is where these slides come from. I kind of just took some information from his slides and modules and put together this presentation, which you guys also have in front of you here in class. So let's just start with number one, and we're just going to go through each of the 19 things. What I would love to hear is any elaboration or idea that you had or something that you learned from it when you went through, Jake's version on the locker room university. Or was this not something that you thought about? So the way I look at this class is similar to what Jake was saying in the training, which is it's not just for people who are in real estate school or just passed their tests. It's actually for anybody because there are things that people who've been doing real estate for 10 years, and I'll be honest, before I came to KW, I didn't know any of the stuff that I know now. In my 15 plus years before I came here, you would think from those many years, and you can attest to that as well, because you've been at another company a while ago, is that if you're not being taught specific things by your brokerage, you just do business the way you do business, and you don't even know the things that you didn't know. So that's why I think this class in particular is super important for just anybody, not just people that just passed their test. Anyway, wouldn't it be a great world if real estate school taught you these things? But it does not. It's just the curriculum to pass the test. So number one, start day one with a database. We definitely know that, at no point in any of those real estate classes does it talk to you about the actual practice of what you're going to be doing. And some people even come out of school and say, well, what the heck even is a database? Some of you might be thinking that right now. I know I thought that even after 15 years in the business, and I came here and I was like, database? Do you mean like my files of people? And didn't know exactly what that meant. So one, what is a database? And two, what are we doing with it? We don't want to just spend time creating a database. There's so many people that spend a lot of their time on content and events and activities to get a database. But then if they do nothing with it, it's not going to make you money. You don't get paid for creating a database unless you're just out there, bless you, selling it to someone. So we have to have a database and we have to, fuel it and do stuff with it. Who can elaborate on that? Who understands fully what it means to have a database? How do you get a database and what do you do with it? Anybody here on Zoom?
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
can attest to just like when I was on the team and it wasn't highlighted as much to going on my own and knowing that it was my responsibility and putting smart plans into place. I mean, it's been a game changer because I'm in there every day, multiple times a day instead of, I don't think I was in there at all for
Yeah,
9 months when I
sure.
was on the team. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So
great
very
point.
aware now.
And in particular, because, one would think sometimes when you're on a team, when you're a new person, they're going to teach you those kinds of things. But everybody and every business is run differently. So, but yes, exactly. And for you, Brittany, too, in particular, I know because you really work your database so well, it's especially going to give you the fruits of your labor here in a few months. Because if you keep working it hard, the reason why, does anyone know why people who are in the business and do know that they should be creating and working a database don't do it?
Just time involvement, but then it's on autopilot once you do it.
Yeah, I think it's time, but it's also this. it doesn't bring you an immediate paycheck. So people think, agents think that it's not a money-making activity. They think things like, maybe open house is more direct. So there's indirect and direct things that we do that bring us business. I can tell you my database is what brings me 100% of my business now. I don't get business anyplace else but my database. That's my only source of business. And all I have to do is nurture it. And then those leads come to me. Referrals, past clients, repeat business, family and friends. That's it. Questions about database? All right. Number 2. Focus on net income. So when we do net income, it's one of the things that Jake goes over when you're doing the action plan, which, by the way, is after the 19 things and before the 5 to 25. So if you've done that before, Jake and I co-hosted. For those of you who don't know, you're thinking, who the hell is Jake? Jake is my coach, actually, and he's the owner and founder of the Locker Room University that we get to be able to access. And so, one of the trainings that Jake does is called Agent Action Plan, for those of you who haven't been in the university yet. There's a great video. Jake and I, this past summer, we co-hosted Agent Action Plan and went through those numbers. So that is where you kind of figure out your projections. And the great thing about the workup in the Agent Action Plan is it's especially important when you do it the second time. So maybe you do it the second time in 3 months or in 6 months, better even after the first year, because then you can go back and actually have actual numbers to plug in versus as a new person, you're just estimating what you want it to be. And that's okay. We need to start somewhere. So it's not this, wait till I've been in the business a year and then do it. No, we're going to do it at first, projecting what we're wanting. So basically what that means is, how can we decide? Because guess what? We do get to decide what we make in this business. You can say, and everybody's golden number is always $100,000, just that number. I don't know if that's something they taught you in real estate school. I don't know where that number comes from, but it's always 100,000. And if you want to make 100,000, you can say that because this is your business. And so focusing on net income is partly knowing what I want to make. And then does my calendar reflect the income I want to make? That means how much time am I actually spending on things like building my database and nurturing it, for example? How many things am I doing to get me business? So I can't say I want to make 50,000 or I want to make 100,000, but yet my calendar is filled with other things and not money making exercises and database building things for real estate. So you also definitely want to be tracking the things that you're doing. Am I spending money on leads? Am I spending money on mailings? Where are you spending money in your business? And then focus on that net income. So when you do Agent Action Plan, that'll become more clear for you. And then he also says, avoid shiny objects, meaning this. As a newer person, you're probably inundated with emails and phone calls. I mean, heck, I'm still getting them all the time too. Someone trying to sell me something that's like, hey, we can give you 25 listings a month. Yeah, right. A lot of it's a scam too. So be careful of, falling for things like that. All right, number 3, and I'm going to get cooking through these because there's a lot to go through in that 1 hour that we have today. So lead generate daily. So let's break that down a little bit too. If I'm full-time in real estate, a part of my day should absolutely be lead generating. That's that whole then build your database, right? We build our database by lead generation, and then we nurture it. And I have to look here because I always get this wrong. Does anyone know what the 80-20 principle is?
It's like 80% lead generation, 50%.
I always get it mixed up, so I wrote it down. Same thing. So what it is this: 20% of your activities brings you 80% of the results. So of your day, and let's just say you're working even 4 hours in real estate, 20% of that, if done right, is going to bring you 80% of the results. Whereas also on the opposite side, 80% of your activities actually only can bring you 20% of your results. So that means this, if I spend 1 hour of my day very efficiently, consistently doing the right things, it's going to bring me way more in the outcome. Because if you're doing 80% of your day on busy work stuff, and not that 20% that's really digging in and building a moat around your time and calling people and doing all the things, that's going to bring you way more of a result on the 80% side. So basically, we all go through our day and do a million different things, but it's going to be that small thing that you're doing that's super important that will then bring you. I mean, don't we all want, I don't want only 20% results from 80% of my activities. I want it to be flipped, if that makes sense. All right. Number 4 in the 19 things they don't teach you. Find an accountability partner or a coach. So lucky for you guys, you all have a coach, or most of you do. I'm not sure exactly who else is on Zoom. So you have me, but you also should have an accountability partner. Yes, I can be an accountability partner, but really, we want to have someone who we can talk to on a daily basis, who we can practice scripting with. I know we've talked about this a lot in the chat, but you guys, it tends to work out in coaching that I've been doing now for several years. The people that join around the same time kind of stick together and stay in these mini little groups, which is great. So find somebody who you recognize and who's here all the time when you're here, and have them be your accountability partner. It's kind of like this. Do I feel like going to the gym this morning? I don't, but gosh, if Rico's meeting me there because he's depending on it, I'm probably going to be more likely to go because I'm not going to drop the ball for him and mess up his routine if I'm not going to go. So there's an accountability partner right there because somebody else is counting on you. And so therefore you'll live up to your end of the bargain for each other. And it's also a great idea to have that same person be the person that you're practicing scripts with, if that makes sense. Anybody have an accountability scripting partner on Zoom or here? No? Not yet? Not yet? All right. Well, we'll do some matchmaking. And I know there's occasional times someone will ask for one in the chat. I always have to text somebody and say, for the love of God, somebody please answer this poor person who's asking for an accountability partner. It makes me feel like someone's standing with a lunch tray saying, where can I sit in the lunchroom? And no one says, come sit here. So please respond. There are people out there that are looking for help as well as you are. For anyone who's done Bold here at KW, it's one of the things that you will be doing during Bold of the 8 weeks that you go to that. The first thing that we do is pick an accountability partner, and we set a time during Bold, and then hopefully it creates good habits to talk to that person every single day, even though Bold is only once a week. So like my accountability was Rob, the broker at our Elevate office, and every single morning at 8:15, he called me, I called him, we took turns scripting, and then we talked about what was I supposed to do yesterday? Did I do it? If I didn't, why? And what am I going to do today for tomorrow? The same thing could work per week. If you don't feel like you can commit to every day, then you can do that on Monday and on Friday or something like that too. Lots of different tips on how to do that. Number 5, define your standards and systems. So for example, as Brittany said, I was going to say Bridget for some strange reason. I don't even know Bridget. As Brittany said, setting up your smart plan, setting up your drip campaigns, your nurture, your follow-up. The hardest part is just setting that up. So building the systems can take a little bit of time, but the amount of time that it saves you is enormous. And here at KW, of course, we don't expect you to know what those systems are. We don't expect you to create them, actually. We have everything in place for you to use. We have all those tools for you, including the smart plans. For those of you who are like, what the heck is a smart plan? In our database management system command, you'll have access to already created for you smart plans. And those are step-by-step follow-up that's already done for you. You just have to add your person and check a box that says, I want this smart plan. And that's going to start automatically texting and emailing your clients or past clients or just your database. And there's a lot of different topics of smart plans. Maybe it's a long-term, meaning I'm going to have the smart plan, reach out to them once a month. Maybe it's a smart plan for a buyer you're working with right now, and it's going to hit them more frequently. So that's basically what a smart plan is. So you can choose the ones that you want and then change it. You can customize it. You can create your own. What I have found works best is consistency, of course, but images. People don't want to read an entire long email. An image, like a photograph of some kind of image or a flyer with a few bullet points on it, makes way more sense and people will more often read it. I would rather you send out 12 of those than one really long email that no one's actually going to read, right? So make sure that you have your standards and systems in place. Standards would be like, here's my boundaries. I'm going to sell houses in this bubble, and I'm not going to go outside of that bubble. Or I have standards that I'm not going to work on Sunday, or I'm not going to pick up my phone after 9 o'clock at night, or whatever that looks like for you. You get to determine those standards for your business as well. All right. So this one I know is always tough. So I added some different examples there. So does anyone have a unique value proposition? Anybody on Zoom? Do we know what it is? So your unique value proposition is this. It's who am I? What am I trying to sell? What do I stand for? Do I have a mission statement? So everybody, if you haven't done this, write this down. This is an exercise. We did a whole class on creating a unique value proposition, at least in the past year, I know. So you can decide, use AI if you want. It's if you tell it who you are and what you're looking to get across, what message, it'll help you, creating it too. This is who I am and this is what I do. I want to sell houses to first-time home buyers, or I want to sell houses to people that are downsizing, or I want to sell, whatever it is that you want. What service are you providing? And then that should be also in your mission statement. It should also express your values and beliefs. I went ahead and I put together an example here of what that might look like. You probably can't see it on the screen, but here it is. And I put it in the Google Drive too. So here's how you can create a mission statement and how you can create your own unique value proposition. It should be the way you brand yourself. You'll notice teams, for example, or brokerages, or any business really has a unique value proposition. So I'll just throw it out there and say Meijer. Meijer, the grocery store's unique value proposition is that you can go there and buy anything that you need. You can buy kitchenware, you can buy bathroom towels, you can grocery shop, you can get your cat's litter, you can do a one-stop shop at a place like that that's relatively inexpensive. So their unique value proposition would be to attract people that don't want to have to go to Target and to Giant Eagle, and they want to spend a little bit less. So that would be a unique value proposition. McDonald's unique value proposition would be consistency. No matter if you go to a McDonald's in Vegas, in China, or right here in Canton, Ohio, your French fries are going to taste exactly the same. So their unique value proposition would be to be able to get relatively, I don't eat fast food, but I'm going to say decent food, quick and cheap, and it's going to be consistent across the board. Same with Starbucks. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Starbucks actually burns their beans. Did you know that? They burn their beans because they wanted, when they started, to have their coffee just have a slightly burnt taste to it, which was different than all the other coffee shops, so that you can identify their coffee no matter what, because it has no matter what the flavor is, it has a particularly different taste to it because they burn their beans. So again, unique value proposition. Highly recommend. Go ahead.
That Starbucks had a high filtration for the water.
Exactly. Yeah, because I love getting a big water from there. Like I sometimes just drive through just to get their water. So absolutely. So a lot of different things like that that are different. And that's why they call it unique value proposition, because it's going to help you brand yourself and stand out in a little way that might be different than somebody else. I would recommend doing this exercise for sure. Like I said, we recently did a class on it and it's in the Google Drive or on Legacy Group Guide. And I'm happy to work with you on those as well. All right, number 7, use social media. I mean, listen, guys, if you're not using social media for your business, you are missing free advertising and business that you could be getting. But a couple of things. And again, we recently did a class on social media engagement and what to do on social media. So all that information's there. So you don't have to think, oh gosh, what can I do? Because there's so many parts to social media and it's not just posting. A big part of your social media should be part of your brand. Again, what's my unique value proposition and how am I going to get that message out there to the world so that people will want to work with me? I give this example all the time. For some reason, it just sticks out in my mind. There's a KW agent that not recently, I haven't seen, but I think she was just somewhat of a producer. She wasn't a huge producer, but she sold some houses. And then she started going to the Stark County Humane Society, and I think it was Friday, but don't know for sure. And she would just do a quick Facebook Live video holding a cat or holding a dog, telling people who the animal of the week was. They needed to come there and adopt and bring this, they need blankets this week, they need cat litter this week, blah, 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 please donate. And she got such a huge following from animal lovers that her business has exploded. Now she has a team just from that. And so it was something that she did to dive into the community, coming from a place of service, and she grew her social, all on social media. She didn't put a billboard up that said that. She didn't pay for an expensive radio ad or anything like that. Facebook Live for 30 seconds on Friday, and now she's a multi-million-dollar producer. So it just takes some simple things like that to do. And it doesn't have to be that one thing, but it could be something that is you're passionate about, right? And then you need to do these following things. You need to have social media. And guys, we need to have Facebook. So for young people or people who don't have Facebook, I say it all the time, Facebook is where most of your audience is people that are buying and selling real estate. Not that you can't get business from TikTok or Snapchat or other things. Definitely Instagram is up there as well. But I would say, I could be not be true, but my opinion is most of your business on social media is going to come from Facebook. So one, make sure you have a Facebook page. I don't have a preference of a business page or not a business page. I have this business page and I never use it unless you want to run ads. And everything goes on my personal page because that's where my friends are. I have a public page. I don't know how you can run a business and not be public. Your phone number, your email address, your photograph, your life should be public. We are not secret agents. If you're a secret agent, you won't have business, right? We're not hiding from the public. We need to be out there. I don't know if I put my face on a card and drive around like I'm running for office or anything like that, but in any case, so one, you need to have your social media, and then you need to start adding friends every day. And so every morning when I'm having my coffee is when I'm spending my time on social media or my calendar, and I am adding more friends, and then I'm engaging. I'm not really spending the time on the post. So some people think post, 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 post. No, you need to do more than that. So step one would be grow my social media. You get to have 5,000 friends on Facebook. If you have any less than that, you're not working your social media well enough. So what can you do? Well, as I said, whatever you do in your morning routine, it's just when I'm sitting having coffee, I go on to Friends of Friends Facebook page, and then I friend request all of their friends I have mutual friends with. Sometimes I have 10 friends, sometimes I have 50 mutual friends. And so at least there's some connection. I'm probably not going to friend request somebody that I don't have mutual friends with because they might not accept, right? So I'm going to start friend requesting so much that Facebook says you have hit your maximum for the day, which I don't know how many that is, but because it's quick and easy. If you go on someone's friends list, you just go down and add, and they just keep getting, and who cares who says yes and who says no? I honestly don't even care when someone says, hey, I see you friend requested me. Do I know you? Delete. I don't care. If you're going to question it, adios. I don't have time for this. This is supposed to be fast. I'm not having conversations like that. It's out you go. In any case, and then you need to dive into social media, and liking is just as good as doing nothing. If you're just liking people's posts and not commenting, you will not stand out. It's very interesting to me. Everyone knows I've been building a house for the past year. And so when I run into someone, everyone I know keeps on saying, oh my gosh, I've loved watching your construction go up and everything looks so nice, blah, blah, blah. I was going to comment, but now that I see you, I'm going to tell you. So what that means is they saw the post, they probably liked it, but they never commented. And they even recognized that they never commented. So I wouldn't know that that person was even looking at it. Why does that matter? Well, it does matter as an agent if you're trying to get business and you want to stay top of mind, right? And then what did he say? Then he said, oh yeah, I'm about to flip a house, blah, blah, blah. Here's all the information. Because then he connects real estate to me too, because I post just as much personal as I do real estate. So there's a balance there. If it's just personal and no business, then how are those people supposed to know that you sell real estate? And if it's just business, they'll scroll past. You have to have a good balance of both for people to recognize that. So one, get your social media in order. Two, make sure you're friend requesting up to 5,000 people. And then three, start engaging. Liking's fine, but comment as well. If you even take it further and DM people, you're going to get way more of a response and start engaging. That's where it's going to count. And so get some ideas. What I do is I have an entire Google folder of content ideas that I pick from as like a pool of ideas for content. And then I also have put together scenarios of what can I say to engage with people based on this kind of a post, based on that kind of a post. If someone has a birthday post, or it's their birthday, what can I say or do that's different what everybody else is doing? I have a whole bucket of those kinds of things. How can I respond when somebody, went on vacation? What are some responses to, put out there and engage with them, whether it be in comments or DMing? You're going to take it up a couple ticks if you're DMing though, for sure. And some people just feel weird about it. So I would say if you're not going to DM, then comment for sure. Before I move on to 8, is there anyone who can say that they're actively working their social media, that they feel like they're at least above on a scale of 1 to 10, a 5? Yeah,
Yeah, I'm trying.
you're trying.
I'm struggling with the matrix. I think it's just because like I don't have as many friends. If I have like one mutual friend,
Yeah.
I really don't know them, then I'll still send it.
Absolutely.
And then I do have a bunch of people that just don't.
And that's okay too. So like if you don't, I had a lot to work with because I had over 1,000 friends. So to go from 1,000 to 4,000 was really easy because now I'm going to have a bunch of mutual friends with 1,000 people. If you start out with 200, where's the mutual friends going to be when you're only working with a group of 200? So as you grow, you'll grow, right? So I would keep at that. Rico, were you going to say something?
Oh yeah, I mean, I actually use my Facebook almost every day for my business now.
Yeah.
Just like now converting it into real estate. I think it'll be very simple.
Yeah, good, good. I love that. I look forward to seeing what those posts are.
PW legacy agents going on there and friending everybody there.
Yeah.
As well as Stark County professional real estate, so then you start to see more mutuals. So those people see your realtors, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, listen, I'll say probably of I'm 4,000 something. I'm not quite 5,000 yet. probably 1,000 of them are real estate agents or productivity coaches around the country. So like for sure, but that's okay. We get ideas from other people. There's nothing wrong with seeing something someone's doing and then creating it for yourself in some way. It's not everyone's ripping somebody off. Let's face it. Is there a such thing as an original thought anymore? No, probably not. Yeah, somebody's thought of it, someone's doing it. So feel free to copy and make it your own. I wouldn't just do this though. I did one time see somebody in coaching do this. They shared somebody's post and made it like it was their own. Don't rip off that way. You can get an idea and then go do it with your own content creation, but don't just like copy and share somebody's post. They aren't going to be too happy about that. All right. Number 8, be learning based and action focused. So we can get caught up in this all the time. When I have one-on-ones with you, I know this is one of those things that we talk about is I love our people that are very engaged at coming to trainings and go do a lot of things about learning, but then never pull the trigger to get action moving. Like it does, you don't get paid. I don't know if you guys knew this, but you don't get paid to come to class, right? Do come to class because you learn the things that you need to do. But if you don't leave here, or those of you on Zoom, if you don't end this Zoom today and then take action with at least one thing, then what did you do to move the needle towards a closed transaction? So that's why it says be learning based, but action focused. And so like the GPS is a perfect example of this when we're doing our GPS together, which for those of you who don't know, stands for goals, priorities, and strategies. And so when we look at our main goal, we come up with our 3 most important priorities that we're going to focus on. So that could be source of business. Let's just use for an example. But the strategies are the action items that we can measure that we're going to do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And that's where the activity is happening. So that's how you can measure what you're doing. If you only focus on the priorities and say, I'm hosting open house, like what have you been doing lately? I've been hosting open houses. And so if you're not looking at the strategies of specifically what you're doing, what does that actually mean, right? So just say I go to the gym, but not actually say what I'm going to do there or how long I'm going to be there or what I'm going to do is not enough. It's not enough just to see I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to drink a gallon of water a day. I'm going to eat salad and chicken for lunch. I'm going to make sure I have my protein shake. Do you see how that looks very different than just I'm going to eat healthy? So that's how you get yourself into action and activity. And of course, the consistency and habit building will happen as well. Number 9 in the 19 things they don't teach. Track your business early and often. I wish that I had, well, this is really going to age me, but there was no such thing as database when I started in the business. Well, there was, but it was in an accordion file. Like literally, I would have a piece of paper with a client's name, number, email. Well, nope, there was no email. So address, and there was certainly no social media then. And I would sit at my desk and start in the alphabet and go through the A's and see, is there anybody I need to reach out to? And then go to the B's and so on, like on a piece of paper in a file that I would carry around to the office and home and back and forth. I wish that when we started easing into getting things like the internet and ways of tracking and having a database, that I had started slowly putting those people in, but I didn't. I never went back and added those people. I only started adding people as we started getting those tools. So if you can from day one start adding everybody to your database, and then you're reaching out and doing a nurture campaign of some kind with them, you're going to be able to get repeat business in the future. And believe me when I say 10 years in real estate goes super fast. So before you know it, there's nothing like picking up the phone when someone says, hey, Gina, do you remember me? You sold me my house 10 years ago and we want to buy a new one. Can you come list our house? That's the best call to get because I didn't even have to do anything to get that business. So I'm tracking that. I think I told you guys a couple weeks ago when I was packing and moving last year, I found a file like in my office downstairs that had address labels on it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, these are houses I sold like 15 years ago. If I had known that those files were here, I would have maybe did something about it. So to make myself learn my lesson, I looked up every single address on the tax record, and 90% of them had moved. And I didn't sell them their next house because I let them stay in a file someplace in my office that got lost. So that's a lot of money that I missed out on because I wasn't doing something with my database and tracking that. So track what you're doing. I've created a million different trackers and spreadsheets in the drive that you guys can use. You should be tracking how many hours you're spending on education, how many hours are you spending on making phone calls or texting, how many hours are you spending on the MLS, how much time are you spending every week on planning what you're doing, and then how many calls am I making, what kind of return am I getting on the calls that I'm making? If I text, do I get more responses? How many texts does it take for me to get one response? How many meaningful conversations am I actually having every week with people that I can sprinkle in real estate? Here's a quick, meaningful conversation. I keep using Brittany because she's in the front. Hey, Brittany, it's Gina. I don't know if you noticed or not on social media, but I recently got my real estate license, or I got my real estate license last year, and I'm really looking at starting 2026 to make this my full-time business. And I would love it if I could count on you to think of me when anybody or yourself is ever talking about real estate. By the way, go ahead and give me your email address so I can send you some valuable information. And then you have a conversation with that person. That's a valuable conversation that can bring you business in the future. So you should be tracking those. Here's why. Next year, what I want to know is, what are my numbers? How many handwritten note cards did it take me till one responded? When one responded, how many appointments did I need to go on to get the deal? And then what you do, because it does become a numbers game, just like anything else, I then can say the following year, I want to sell twice as many houses as I did last year. So all I need to do is go back into my tracker and double what I did. Make sense? Number 10, treat your business like a business. So many people treat their business like a hobby, like a career. You guys probably know you didn't get hired at KW. Your license is just here. You're an agent at the brokerage. We didn't hire you. If we hired you, you'd be getting a paycheck on Friday. So you have to treat your business like a business. There's a lot of different ways of doing that. One, when you start selling houses, setting it up financially like a business. So not only do I have an LLC, I'm also an S corporation. That means that I pay myself a salary. Gina Ferrer only makes $30,000 a year, but GFKW Coaching actually makes the money. That's a great tax benefit to do it that way. To be an employee of your own business, I get to write that off. And I only owe income tax on 30,000 instead of whatever the business actually made. So you should be, that's one step in running your business like a business. Another one is, if I have a business, if I owned a restaurant, what would I be doing every day to get people through the door? There's things that you need to do. So in your real estate, what do I need to do on a daily basis to get people through the door? How can I be talking to people to start working with buyers and sellers? So keeping those kinds of things in mind. And it's okay if you're part-time in real estate. If you're part-time, then same thing though. 20 hours a week I need to spend on, how do I get people to come through the doors? How do I get somebody to think of me and be able to potentially list their house or work with them on finding a house or a lot or whatever it is they're looking for to buy? It also says here, do you know what you make an hour? I know what I make an hour. I can tell you that for sure. And it's more than $100. So rather than saying I want to make 100,000 a year, I want to make $100 an hour. I want to spend my time this week, no matter what I do, and I want to make $100 an hour. And sometimes it's more than that, sometimes it's less than that, but have a goal in mind. That's a way. I think Jake gave a really good example when he was going through these, and I'm not going to get it exactly correct, but it was a couple that he used to coach many years ago when he was a PC that was just about to get out of the business. And they had a one-on-one and they talked about some things that they were doing and tracking. And one of the things that the gentleman did was, and again, I'm going to quote this wrong, but he had a jar that he would, for every hour that he spent, he would put like $1 in a jar or something like that to see how much money he was making every hour. Because he knew that, okay, I just got up from doing what I was doing, and that potentially can earn me $100 right now. And it did. It did in the future. Even it doesn't feel like it, and we have a hard time tracking that because we're not immediately seeing the results. But again, I'm going to keep using the health example. If I want to lose weight or I just want to get fit, does that happen because I ate good today? It absolutely does not. If I go to the gym 5 hours on Sunday, am I going to have the same result that if I go 5 different times this week consistently? It's the consistently that makes the results, not 5 hours on Sunday. So same thing. All right. Number 11, associate with like-minded people. So again, who you're in business with matters. Part of that comes from joining the right brokerage. Do they have the same morals and, belief system as I do? Or is that brokerage here to help me grow? Also, putting yourself in an environment where you're around other agents working. Hence the, accountability partner and things like that will help you be able to move forward. We used to do something in coaching called Monday Work Day. And we started it, I guess, maybe about a year and a half ago, and then it kind of just fizzled. You remember that, Kurt, don't you? And so what that was I kind of just thought maybe agents aren't spending their day like it's an actual work day in real estate. They're just sporadically loosey-gooseing it and doing work a little here and a little there. So I created an entire work day from 8:30 to 5, and we just called it Monday Work Day. The point was now go do it yourself on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever. And then give yourself a weekday off if you're going to work on the weekends, or if you're working evenings, then you get a gap in the middle of your day, but you have to be able to weave it into your life. For those of you who are dual career, it's okay. You can't just do your other job and then run out of energy to not do real estate too. You need to figure out how can I balance all of these things in my life to be able to do both. As far as I know, we don't just grab people off the curb as they're driving by and force them into real estate. You all, on your own free will, decided to pay the money, go to class, take that test and study, and sometimes take it multiple times, and then get into real estate. So when someone says this to me, I think sometimes I might actually be rolling my eyes outside my body and inside. I hope not, if that is you guys or anyone in here. But when someone says to me, I can't do it or I can't come because I just got off my other job, I'm rolling my eyes. I'm rolling my eyes because I also have multiple jobs. I sell real estate, I coach, and I do a lot of things. And I don't say I can't do this because I am tired because I was just doing that. We didn't force you into this role. You guys made that decision. So when you did, and you want to see results from that, you need to do the work on the time that you have available, that you're not at your other job or taking care of someone or whatever that might look like, as harsh as that sounds. All right, number 12, master your listing presentation. I'm sad to say that some people get appointments really quickly. Why would I be sad to say that? You only get one chance to do a good job for somebody, and then you can't backtrack it. You can't go on a listing appointment and mess it up and then say, wait, now I'm going to go to a class, or now I'm going to call Gina and ask for her help, and then I'm going to go back and do it better. So if you don't know what you're doing on a listing appointment, and I'm sad to say we have some stragglers out there that are like, how did you even list that property? I don't even know what just happened. If you don't have a good listing and presentation and you don't know what you're doing, you should be giving yourself a nice cushion of time before you go on that appointment. Here's what I would love to see. Hey, Gina, I've got a client who wants me to list their house. I went ahead and I scheduled it for Friday. It's Monday. let's get together sometime this week so that you can show me what I need to do to prepare for that appointment. And that way, when I get there, I can make a good first impression and look like I'm professional and I know what I'm doing because I've went to a couple of classes or I've actually met with my coach who then helped me put it together versus just going and blowing it and then you don't get a second chance. I guess it's a great learning experience. I didn't have a coach when I started in real estate and I fumbled through, and so did everybody else in the business before there was a design to have a company that taught you how to sell real estate. But you don't have to do that. Plus, expectations are high out there in the world today. There's so much competition in that way. You need to be able to do it right. So they also want to like you, and that's great if you're a high I, but if the client's just looking for someone who they like, but also is very well versed and knows what they're doing, then you're going to be in trouble. Don't just wing it. We need to learn how to do it. And that goes for the buyer presentation as well. Number 13, master your scripts and objection handlers. In particular, objection handlers. So I know in December, we have scripting on the schedule. One of the things that we're going to be doing in particular is objection handlers. Who can tell me what's an objection you're getting right now from potential buyers?
Buyer agency agreement. I mean, I don't have that as much, but that's a stickler, it seems like.
So people having a hard time signing it. So what might the script be to that? So if I said to you, Brittany, no one's ever made me sign a buyer's agency before. I've bought and sold houses for the past 2 decades. So why should I sign it?
Well, and a lot of I mean, I'll tell them the date when that came into effect.
Mhm.
So really, if you haven't dealt with real estate in the last year and a half, then it's new to you.
Yep.
So.
Perfect. And then I would also add, every other agent's going to make you sign it too. So just note that if someone's giving you a hard time signing it, you can let them know it's not just you. Anybody that they call is going to ask them to sign it. And if they say, well, that's not true. I met somebody at open house last weekend and they showed me a house. Well, then I can't be responsible for somebody else who wants to get fined or lose their license. There's no time that you guys should ever feel like, I just want to show the house because I potentially want to get the deal, that I'm not going to get it signed because I know it's not worth losing your license over. I don't care if it was a $10 million house, which I assure you it won't be. So do you want to lose your license over a lousy $900 commission or something like that? You probably don't. And so that's what I would add to that objection. Another objection right now that we hear a lot from buyers is the whole interest rate thing. I'm just waiting for interest rates to drop again before I buy a house. They're not. They're not. How long are you willing to wait? We also have a great graph that goes over the course of time that we've ever been tracking things like home buying. And they're never going, it's going to take another 5 decades before we ever would see, Jess is in the back of the room of the cross country. Are we ever going to see a 2 and 3% interest again in our lifetime?
Say no if I had to give my best judgment. I mean, the reason that the rates were that low was because of COVID.
Right.
There was a pandemic, so unless something crazy like that happens again, it would.
So an easy thing, yes. So the easy thing to say to somebody is, and this is how this may sound snarky, but bear with me. Making someone feel stupid about something that they're saying that was stupid could work in your favor if you know how to do it nicely, if there's a nice way of doing it, right? So I might say, oh, Jess, yeah, you, me, and everybody else out there would love for the rates to go back to 2 and 3, but just so you know, they are never going to unless we have a pandemic again. So how long are you actually willing to wait? So you just need them to understand it's not happening again. So that's a big one that we're getting. I don't think we're getting it as much lately. I think we're at least a year into 5, 6s, right? If not more.
The 6s now for 30 years, and I'm locking people in the 5s at 15 years too.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. And that's a normal average interest rate over the course of time. So it's just that I think they hear it. They may not even have refinanced. Maybe they don't even have a 2% rate. I was one of those crazy people who sold my house last year with a 2.3% interest rate, which is insane. But whatever, it's not going to get in my way from moving forward either. So objection handlers are super important because how you respond is going to make the difference of you getting the business. A big objection would be at a listing appointment, when you go over a commission potentially. Somebody might want to know why, hey, the other person I had over said they were going to only charge me 2.5% and you're charging 3%. Why should I pay you 3%? If you don't have a good answer for that, you're never going to make what you want to make. You get to remember when we talked a few back about not only systems, but what does your business look like? So my business looks like I want to make this amount. This is what I charge for my business. And you get to determine that too. So those are your standards. I'm not going to do it for less unless there's some reason they're a past client, they're repeat business, or they're listing their house and they're buying a house. So am I going to be willing to come down on my commission in that scenario? Well, that's up to me. And yeah, in that scenario, I would. Otherwise, I just have a great objection handler. All right, number 14, know your local market better than anyone. I know this has happened to you guys who are in real estate, where every time someone sees you, they say, how's the market? Especially if you're visible on social media and they actually know that you sell real estate, they will start to say, how's the market? Knowing the market and being very specific about things that aren't just things that they already heard out there is super important to know. We're really great at KW and informing you guys. So if you aren't coming to the second Tuesday of the month team meetings that we have, you're missing out, because those are the meetings that we go over things like what actually is going on in the market, to be able to get that information. We recently got some great stats. So we went to the Tom Ferry event, and those are things to know. So you could have different apps on your phone that give you updates on rates, give you updates on things going on in the market, or you can just get on the MLS. That's one of your tools, and explore what's going on in the market. I mean, lucky for us here in Ohio, and in particular in Canton and Stark County area, we aren't feeling the slowdown like they are in other places in the country. We usually get the end of those waves. You know, when things got busy out west, it took a minute to get busy here. It's slowed down that direction now, and it hasn't caught up here yet. I'm hopeful that based on what I've recently heard on stats for the market next year, by the time the wave of slow gets to us, we're going to go back to being busy again. So hopefully we get skipped. Nonetheless, it doesn't matter how many agents are out there in the industry. When people say to me, is this a great time to get in the market because there's so many agents? 80% of them don't even work. So we really have slimmed the population of agents that are actually selling houses to about 20%. I mean, when the average real estate agent in our country sells 12 houses, what really is the competition? Low, very low. So that's a low number, in my opinion. 12 houses a year for the average in the country. I mean, what is that saying for our industry and what people are, how are you living on that? How can you live on 12 houses? Again, not here in Canton, Ohio, but in the country. So obviously some of those are in areas that their price point's way higher. But nonetheless, it is what it is. So knowing what's going on, knowing, you know, are we in a buyer's market? Are we in a seller's market? General public might tell you that they think we're in a buyer's market right now, and we certainly are not. We are absolutely still in a seller's market. Why might a buyer tell you that? Because they think that they can get a deal still on a house. And I'm not saying that there aren't some out there. This is not the best time for someone to go in looking for a house and thinking that they're going to get a deal. If they want to buy for less than asking price, then they need to be going and looking at houses that have been on the market for more than 6 weeks. Not the one that just hit today and they're up against 15 offers, which by the way is still happening. I mean, I haven't sold a listing in a year that hasn't gone for at least 10 to 20 over asking price. One that went 62 over asking price. So that when that's still happening, we're still in a seller's market. And that's partly because we're still in a shortage of listings. However, a lot of houses are still selling. So the only reason why we're in a shortage is not because there's not houses for sale. It's because they're still selling so quickly that they're mostly pending. is what's happening. Number 15, set goals and create a plan. So as I talked about, again, we do use a tool called a GPS. So for those of you that have done one, we're going to be doing a class on updating that for 2026 here in December. And then for those of you who have not done one yet, we're going to be doing that in our early one-on-ones as you start to get into real estate and get into coaching. So your GPS is going to set your goal and create a plan. Our leadership here at Keller Williams spends an entire day every year, which we just did about 2 weeks ago. The office was closed because our leadership, actually our K1 network all gets together and we do a lot of different, group building exercises, but the main purpose of that day is to plan 2026 for our agents and our brokerage. So you have to set the goal and then create a plan. You don't know what you're striving for if you don't have a goal and a plan. Number 16, be a time blocking ninja. So I am the kind of a person who I have very little forgiveness for people that don't do things that I think are just common to do. And one of those is I'm a crazy time blocker. So I have a hard time with people who aren't good with their time, yet they don't do anything about it. So whether you start your day with figuring out how your day is going to look, or you start your week that way, or a little bit of both, you should most definitely understand what time blocking means. You should know what type of a resource or tool you want to use. So for example, I use a Google Calendar, and my Google Calendar fills up as I go through the week and into the weeks and has some reoccurring things on it. But I promise you this, it also has notes like there's some things on mine today that are call 3 people that I didn't get in touch with last week. That's on my calendar. I'm not going to end my day without having done that. I even put things like, go to the grocery store and get these 3 things or whatever that might look like. I have those kinds of things plugged in my calendar because if I don't, I won't do it. And so if I want to do something important, like I just moved to another city, so I need to find a new vet and preferably a new doctor because I don't love either of the ones I have here in town anyway. So I don't have that need to come back here to not in 20 minutes away. So it's on my calendar for this afternoon at 4:00 to find a new vet and find a new doctor closer to where I live. If I didn't put it on there, I would probably forget. So you can get as creative as you want with your time blocking. To me, it's just like tracking. Put on there whatever you choose to. Maybe things are not important to you to be on there. I always start with family first. So what that means is this is my time to go to my granddaughter's cheer competition. This is when I need to pick her up from school, or when my son played football every Friday night, it was blocked because I was never going to miss a game. Those kinds of things go on my calendar first. And then if I was someone who had another job, my other job would go on the calendar too. And then I would have to look at what hours I have left and what other activities I want to do. I would also recommend to all of you, look at the Keller Williams training calendar and decide when that comes out, what classes am I going to, and put that on your calendar. I'm going to say something that I know is maybe not of popular belief, but I can tell you this. If it's on your calendar, there better be a good reason why you don't do it. You should be doing it. You don't lose it, by the way, you move it. So if I didn't do it, it gets moved someplace else. Also this, I don't think it's an excuse to go show a house or attend a home inspection instead of coming to a class that you committed to yourself that you were coming to. I wouldn't cancel today's class because I have a buyer that wants to look at a house at the same time. Again, we go back to running your business like a business. If I'm running my business like a business, do you think it's fair to myself to miss a class that I liked enough or thought enough of to put on my calendar to go show a house? No, you're not running your business like a business then. What you say is, oh, you know what? I already have an appointment at that time. Can we do this time? Now, it doesn't mean this, especially with buyers. don't feel like showing a house this morning, so I'm gonna make them wait till 3 o'clock today. Or I don't want to show a house on Friday night, so I'm gonna make them wait till Monday. That is not what I mean. Please don't absorb the things that you want to hear and not hear the point. The point is I'm assuming that you all know who Jose is, who owns our brokerage. He would not miss a team meeting where he's speaking because he has a seller that wants to meet with him because it's urgent. You'll know that people who are very high producers know what the priority is and your business and working on your business. And so that also means my lead gen time slot. I'm not going to move. I'm going to work my business around it. Right? 17, live in abundance, not scarcity. So there's some great exercises as we're going to be going through our 0 to 12 transactions that are about mindset. And those will be after our 5 to 25 challenge. We'll start diving into some of those. But if you dig into the Locker Room University and go into track, which by the way, track is part of the 0 to 12 transactions of the modules. So for those of you who don't know, there's modules in there that you follow. So as you start one, you can't move to the next one until you finish this one. So this one is in color, this one is in black and white all the way through. So when I finish the next sequence, the next one is going to come color for me to be able to do. And one of those things when you get into it is going to be the 12 weeks of track. And those were hosted live last September, I think. And then again, I think in the spring. So you're going to get to watch those repeat classes to be able to get through our entire cycle of this particular training, which is the 0 to 12 closings. So as you're going through track, one of the things is about mindset. One of the trainings is about mindset. And then, why am I really doing this? Some of you maybe have done the what is your big why exercise. And that's a great one too to dive into because you really need to know. So what is it that is the reason I got into real estate? What is my why? Everybody says kind of the same thing. For my family's my why, blah, 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 things like that. Sure. But you need to go a little deeper. My why might be is I want to quit my other job. I don't like it. I'm not putting my all in it, but I need the paycheck. So I'm getting into real estate to be able to do something where I can, make my own calendar so I can be more present for my family and fund my life to do blah, blah, blah. That's my why. And your why can change all the time too. So mindset is super important. And we're going a couple minutes over here, so I'm going to speed it up. Number 18, create a vision for your future. Also in Bold. So Bold is a training that KW puts on once a year. It's an 8-week, 1 full day a week exercise or a training class. And one of the things that they have us do in Bold, I think it's like on the second to last day, is we do this letter to ourselves. They have us write it up, or now I think it's online, and you do an envelope and you send it you give it to them to send to yourself. And in that letter, it says, here's what I want to see happen in 1 year from now. So 1 year from today, this is what I envision my life to be. So I highly recommend that we all do this exercise. We have vision boards coming up here real soon in December as well. And that's kind of one of those things, but write yourself a letter that says, this is what my life is going to look like in 1 year or what I want it to. And then you'll get that letter in the mail. And it's crazy every time I've done Bold where I read that letter back and don't cheat, don't take a picture of it and look at it all the time because it takes away the surprise when you get the letter and you're like, oh my gosh, check, check, check. My life is looking like that, or it's not. What didn't I do last year to make my life be where I wanted it to be? And how can I change it for this coming year? So create a vision for your future and start putting it into place by doing the activities. And then the last one, as I slightly mentioned, is number 19, know your big why. What gets you out of bed every day? What's the pain that I have in my life that makes me want to make changes? Does my big why make me cry? Does it make me happy? Is it big enough? Or is it too big? So sure, get crazy, but be realistic, right? And then keep asking yourself, it changes over the course of time. One of the things that we do on leadership every year is we have a word of the year. I would also recommend you guys start thinking about that because that word is a great place to put on your vision board. So like growth might be a word like for the year. Communication could be a word of the year. I forget what mine was last year, but something that you need to work on. For some people, it's consistency, something that makes you feel motivated for the year that you're going to focus on. All right, guys. Oh, let me end with this. This is a doozy here, this last one on your big why. Does anyone know what this means when it says letters to your family? Okay. So one of the times that I went to Bold, Scott Toombs was teaching. He just taught last time too, but the time before a few years ago. And I remember him telling the story. And for those of you who've read the Cannonball Jake's book, it's also in there. And maybe we'll do a book club again, because I think this round of you guys have not read that book. In any case, he tells the story about how he wrote 2 letters to his family. One letter said, I'm so sorry that I didn't do these things because this was the life that I had envisioned for us. But I'm sorry I didn't do it. The other letter is, I'm so happy that I've been able to see you be fulfilled by the life that I have chosen to give you. And I'm majorly paraphrasing here. And I'm so happy that I've been able to do these things, which has created this life for us. And then he taped them to his refrigerator. And every day he looks at his refrigerator at the I'm sorry letter and the I'm so happy I did the things I needed to do to give us a life that we wanted. And then every day you get to decide virtually in your mind a little bit here, use your imagination. What letter do I want to open today? The apology letter? And maybe you don't have a family. Maybe it's just to yourself. Do you want to apologize to yourself of why you didn't do the things that was going to take to get the business that you wanted? Or I'm so happy I did the following things to be able to create the life that I wanted for myself. All right, guys, homework. Log into the TLR University, watch and follow up with all the activities of the action plan. I know some of you have already done it, so you can at least just watch it so you can get to the next module. And then go ahead and do the elective module. So this one is an elective for scripting and role playing, so you can dive back in and select whichever one you want. And then we want to have watched the modules through the 5 to 25 challenge, which is the path to 6 figures. So what does that consist of? I'm going to run through that real quickly. It's a simple formula that helps agents earn 6 figures per year. And this is a number by the National Association of Realtors. 97% of NAR sells 24 or fewer homes per year. 87% of agents do not renew their license after 2 years. Hear that, guys. 87% of agents do not renew their license after 2 years in the business. So there's some simple steps in what we're doing, which adds up to the 5 to 25 challenge. So please watch through that, and then we will see you on Wednesday. Thanks, guys.